Hi, sixth graders. I feel like I got to work on a nice intro to my videos like you all have been working on with your videos. But we are going to look in Module 4, which is on expressions and equations. We're going to do some practice. There's a lot of info in Module 4 that you will see on your final exam and the multiple choice and the extended response. So this video is going to be broken up into two parts. So make sure that you are practicing these questions before I go through the answers to make sure that you can solve them on your own without any help from me, because that's how the final exam is going to be. For a question like this, you do get access to a calculator for the final exam, but your work and steps are going to be worth more points than just the final answer alone, so make sure you're showing all your steps. So if I think about, for this one, if I'm evaluating this expression, I'm going to be thinking about PEMDAS, and you did a video not that long ago where you worked on PEMDAS, and in that PEMDAS, you always did the parentheses, then the exponents, and then multiplication and division are put together because you look left to right. Multiplication and division are done at the same time, but you go left to right to check. And then the same thing with adding and subtracting. It's the last thing you look for, but you look at them at the same time and you evaluate them from left to right. So in here, I have parentheses and brackets, which are going to be part of this P parenthesis. So I'm going to start with the innermost ones, and even within this, I have to follow PEMDAS. Exponents come before adding. So I'm going to take 4 squared. 4 times 4 is 16. I'm going to bring down the plus 1 that still has parentheses because it's not just one number, with this 3 in the brackets, and then the 2 on the outside, minus 2 to the third. So I'm still on the P parentheses step. 16 and 1 makes 17. Now I can drop the parentheses, but I need to know what operation's hiding here. It's multiplication. So I still have the brackets, and then I have a 2, and then minus 2 to the third. So I'm going to do the brackets, which is still in the parenthesis grouping symbols. Let's see, 3 times 17, let's see, that's 21. 3 and 2 more, that's 51. I can drop the brackets, but again, I have to remember that there's multiplication here. So I finally took care of the parentheses and grouping symbols. Now I have to go to the exponents. Remember, 2 to the third means 2 times 2 times 2. So 4 times 2, 2 to the third is worth 8. So then I have 2 times 51, so it's 102 minus 8. Well, if I take 2 out of that, I got 100. And then if I take 102 minus 8, I'll get 94 for my final answer. Notice there's no equal signs in this. It's all just going down like that ice cream cone effect. I remember Miss Blank was here, the ice cream cone effect. So we get 94 for my answer. This one is also order of operations, but I have to substitute or plug in the numbers first. Again, like one of your flip grids. So x is worth 8, so 8 squared, 8 replaces the x, times y, whoops, not y anymore. Y is going to be worth 18, and we're going to divide it by 3. That's in parentheses. So again, parentheses, exponents, check for multiplying and dividing at the same time. Evaluate them left to right. Check for adding and subtracting at the same time. Look left to right. Parentheses first. I'm going to do this division first because it's in the parentheses. 18 divided by 3 is worth 6. I'm going to do 8 squared times that. Parentheses are done. Now the exponent. 8 squared means 8 times 8. It is 64 times 6. So I could use my calculator, just some practice with multiplication here. So 36 and 2 more is 384. All right, next one. Again, we're going to have an expression, m minus p plus 7 plus n. Evaluate. Tell me what the answer is when m is worth 12, n is worth 1, and p is worth 6. So m is going to get replaced with 12, minus p gets replaced with 6, plus 7, n gets replaced with 1. So I just have, there are no parentheses, there are no exponents, there is no multiplication or division. I'm going to add, subtract from left to right. I see the subtraction first. 12 minus 6 is 6, plus 7 plus 1. Left to right still, add this first. Now add 1, so I would get 14. All right, write an expression. So there will be no equal sign. Write an expression to represent the perimeter of the polygon below. All right, so the long way to do this is to take every single one of these sides and add them together. So that would be x plus y plus x minus 8 plus y plus 7 plus x minus 2 plus 2y plus 7. So I can write it all out, and I can go through. Here is 1x plus another x. That's 2 x's. Here's a third x, so I have 3x. Change my color here. Let's look at the y's. Y plus y, there's 2 y's. 2 plus 2 more would be 4 y's. And change my color one more time. Now I have minus 8 plus 7 plus 7. I'm going to start with the plus 7 plus 7. 7 and 7 is 14, but I have to lose 8. So let's see, 14 lose 8 would be worth 6. And then I have to lose 2 more, so that's 4. So it's a plus 4. So I have 3x plus 4y plus 4. Now I noticed a lot of you don't write it all out. You kind of just go around the edges of the shape, and I do that myself as well. So if I go back, here's x plus another x, that's 2 x's. Here's 3 x's. So if I go around the shape, I still collect 3x like I did when I wrote it out. If I switch my color here, now I'm going to look at the y's. Here's 2y, 3y's, 4y's, right? The coefficient, the number in front matters. So 4y's, still get 4y's. And if I look at just the numbers, let's see, 7 plus 7 is 14. 14 take away 8. Let's see, so I still did that. 14 take away 8 is 6, and then take away another 2 is going to be worth 4. So I still get the same answer by going around and adding like terms than if I write it out and add like terms. It's a lot of work on that one. All right, write an equation. So this time I need an equation, something with an equal sign, to represent this angle. So something I did not draw in this picture that should be there is this little box here. That would mean that this shape is a right angle. So these two angles together would add up to, so this piece right here and this piece right here together, so I mean add them together, will equal 90 degrees. Now to be a little bit more efficient, right, if this is multiple choice, you know they're going to combine like terms. 2 x's and 1 more makes 3x, and 1 plus 3 would be 4. So my official equation is 3x plus 4 equals 90. Next question, again, you have write an equation, so there should be an equal sign in there to represent the angle. So that means this piece and this piece together form a straight line. A straight line would be 180 degrees. So this 4x put together with this 9x minus 7 is supposed to equal 180 degrees, a straight line. So this equation would be acceptable if you gave me, if it was in part 2. If it's multiple choice, they're probably going to have you combine like terms. So these 9x's plus 4 more would be 13x, and then I also have a minus 7 equals 180. So either one of those equations would represent these two angles, and that they add to 180 degrees. All right, next one, solve the inequality. So this time, no equal sign, but inequality means less than, greater than, less than or equal to, greater than or equal to. So you can see that guy right here. So I solve it just like I solve an equation. This is going to be my little goalpost. Instead of an equal sign, I'm carrying down a greater than or equal to symbol. When I don't see an operation between the 7 and the x, it's multiplication. So I undo that with division. So I'm going to divide both sides by 7. So x is greater than or equal to. Make sure you have the right symbol coming down the goalpost. A lot of kids turn that into an equal sign, and we don't want to do that. X is greater than or equal to 42 divided by 7 is worth 6. So here's my inequality. Now I have to graph the solution set. So this time there's a whole set of answers. X, to make this true, there's the list of values. X can be greater than or equal to 6. So on my number line, I always call him the star of the show. 6 is the star of the show. I put him in the middle. And then put a couple values above it and a couple values below it. 6 is included because there's the or equal to, so I'm going to color in this circle. And then I want to say all the values greater than or equal to 6. So greater than would be the 7, 8. 5 and 4 would be less than. So I'm going to shade nice and bold right over that number line, all the way across, right on top of that arrow. This represents, this is the graphic representation of x is greater than or equal to 6. All right, let's try another inequality here. So again, I'm going to put my goalpost up, even though it's not equal sign, same idea. Let's solve this inequality. So I'm going to get rid of subtracting 3 by adding 3 to both sides, keep the balance. Those guys cancel, leaving x. Bring down my, oops, pause this for a second and fix my mouse. All right, so I think I fixed my mouse here. X is now less than 8 plus 3. X is less than 11. There's the solving the inequality. That's not our bell. That's the bell in the video. Now I'm ready to graph this inequality. So again, 11 is the star of the show, so he's going to go in the middle. And I'm going to put a couple values above him and a couple values below him. So at 11, there's no or equal to line under there, so I'm going to leave this circle open. I can't use 11, it's kind of just the boundary. I want all the values less than 11, so I'm going to shade less than, nice and bold to the left for less than, all the way across my number line, and then shade right on top of the arrow of the number line for my inequality. So those are graphic representation of all the values for x that are less than 11. All right, one more before I pause this video to go to the next section. Factor. So you're going to think about greatest common factor when I say factor. So we're thinking of numbers that 14 and 35 share. So I definitely think about 2 for 14, but 35 is odd, so 2 doesn't work. 14, I can also take a 7, which will work for 35. So if I take a 7 out of 14, 14 divided by 7 is 2, and 35 divided by 7 is 5. So there's a second layer to my cake. Now 2 and 5 are both prime. There's nothing else they both share besides a 1. And if I'm going to put a 1 out here, it's not going to do me any good. It doesn't change the values. So the GCF is just the greatest number I take out front. So the GCF, if I factor this, I have a 7. Now to factor it is to write what's left over, this piece right in here, 2 plus 5. Because now this is my answer. 7 times the sum of 2 and 5. If I want to check it, distribute. 7 times 2, there's the 14 I started with. 7 times 5, there's the 35 I started with. All right, come back for part 2, more review.